Okay, we are here with Old World Wednesday, and because they just announced that they're bringing back Beastmen and Wood Elves, I think it's time to flesh out both of those playlists and get more videos ready for you guys. So what we're going to do today is we're going to delve into one of these really awesome old school boxes of Wood Elves and get one of these miniatures painted. I've decided to go with a Glade Rider today, one of the standard, most traditional Wood Elf cavalry units that has existed for 20 years more, and try and paint it up to the best of my ability using much more natural tones than they were previously painted back in the day with the kind of more crazier acrylics and the brighter tones and stuff. So we'll see whether that idea pans out or whether I'm going to ruin this model. Only one way to find out, and that's to stick around till the end. Okay, and we have the beautiful old school Wood Elf Glade Rider box set. I literally just cut the cellophane off this box set on my Twitch stream last night. It was so much fun to be kind of working with these really old school miniatures once again. And yeah, so I got some of them built on stream last night. I knew I was going to be painting one of them for today's Old World Wednesday video. Obviously, Games Workshop has announced the return of the Wood Elves along with the Beastmen and of course the beautiful new Cathay. So I thought I would start fleshing out those Beastmen and Wood Elf playlists for you guys. We are going to start very simply. The model got sprayed Chaos Black, and then we did a Grey Seer kind of Zenithal spray over the top of that to give us a nice base coat to start working up all of these contrasts. And for this, we're going to grab Skeleton Horde, and we're going to work this over all of the kind of horses' fur. Do horses have fur? The mane of... no. The fur, they've got fur, right? I don't know. Over the horse, obviously you want nice pallid natural tones for their horses, bright browns, bright kind of creamy whites. There'd be no black horses for Wood Elves. They would be very much reserved for the dark elves. So with that in mind, we wanted to try and keep the rest of the model kind of as pallid as the horse is going to be. So if you look at the examples of Glade Riders that exist on kind of online and stuff like that, they're kind of all shades of gaudy green, and it's kind of a symptom of the paints they had access to 20 years ago when people were painting these guys. The original kind of Citadel 52 paints that we had access to. It wasn't a majestic line of paints. It was kind of hard to work with, and everything kind of looked like a toy as opposed to model soldier. So with that in mind, I tried to play up some kind of different tones with this guy, and like I said, play into more of a natural aesthetic. So after I got the Skeleton Horde and the Wildwood on for all the reins and leather armor parts, we're going to grab Plague Bear Flesh to start the kind of green tones. Now this is where some of the model became a little bit more difficult, because originally I was thinking that the fabric of the model was going to be two different colors. It was going to be either two different shades of green, a green and maybe a different brown, or a tan, or something like that, like it is represented in all the artwork and the other pictures. But the problem is that these models are actually just awful. Like, I love them for their nostalgia reason, but I cannot tell where one kind of fold of cloth ends and another one begins. What is part of the like sleeves, or what is part of the torso, or it's actually a nightmare to try and figure it all out. So I decided to just play it safe and go that nice pale green across all the fabric. So we've got brown for all the leathers and belts and all those kind of bits and pieces, and then that nice pallid green for everything else. We got silver done on the tip of the spear, ends of the bow. And with all those base coats in place, it's time to shade the model down. For that, we're going to go for Seraphim Sepia and apply this over the entire model. Once again, nice, natural, earthy tones, which are going to suit Wood Elves down to the ground, help blend all those colors together, give us a really nice base tone to start layering up from. And that's where we are going to start playing through with some more of the natural tones we talked about previously. We're going to go through things like Krieg Khaki, Ogre and Camo, those kinds of tones for the green, as opposed to worrying about anything else. But we'll get to that in a minute. First off, we're going to have to add a little bit more color to the horse. Now, I kept having to remind myself that this is not a character, this isn't a special miniature, this is a Glade Rider. It's the lowest rank of horse-mounted infantry in the game, in the Wood Elf army book. These are only like 12 points a model or something, so I don't need to go crazy. They're going to be ranked up with another kind of 8 or 16 guys all ranked up together, so quite large numbers. So it doesn't need to be kind of a spectacular paint job on them. So with that in mind, I grabbed more gassed bone and I do 2 thin coats across the horse to get a nice clean coat. Now I did go for kind of scratchy highlights. You can see what way I'm moving the brush. I'm not trying to make it look flat. I'm trying to make it look textured, if you will. There's not a lot of actual natural texture sculpted onto these old models. So using the brush like this, like I said, moving fast and using the very tip of the brush to add those kind of scratchy lines is going to help a lot to, like I said, add a bit of texture to the horse and make it look a little bit more natural. This is me coming in with a second coat. As you can see, with the second coat on, it starts to really pop and really stand out across the model. But that's all I'm going to do with the horse. I'm not going to worry about things like teeth and eyes and all that. If you want to go in and do that for all of yours, go for it. But like I said, this is a very simple model for a very simple unit. Okay, so with that done, we're going to start moving up to the green. So we're going to start with Strachan green and apply this over the fabric. So like I said, this is a layer paint. So we're trying to leave some of the plague bear flesh that's been washed with sepia in the recesses and the darker, more shaded areas of the model. And then with the Strachan green, we're going to hit the higher areas. And just like the horse, we're there trying to add texture. So I like that texture with those kind of like nice scratchy movements. You can see how I'm doing it. And I think it's going to work. But obviously, we're going to go for quite a heavy coat with that one. But we are going to go down into Ogrim Camo and then finally jump into Krieg Khaki. And each time we apply it, we're going for exactly the same technique. We are just going for less each time. So the previous color is going to show through. And the next color is just going to act like a little highlight, just to make the green, like I said, pop a little bit. I want these guys more to, I don't know, represent things like the elven cloak from Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? The idea that when they are in the woods, they will blend into the foliage. And that to me means natural kind of beiges and browns and greens, not the like toxic green cloth that they used to have, which would stand out a mile in the forest. Krieg Khaki being that final highlight, which is almost a bone. So it is blending in with the horse a little bit, which is where I started to get a little bit panicked that I was going down the wrong route. I actually started to look at other greens, thinking I had made a mistake because it was going to be so similar to the horse. But I did decide to power through. I took out some of the other old Wood Elf models that I painted recently, the Wood Elf Lord with Great Weapon. And I'd used the same greens on him, and he looks great. So I powered on through and decided I'll decide on the green after I layer up the rest of the model. So we're going to go for Catachan Flesh for all of the brown leathers for kind of the mid-tone. Normally, when I'm working with leathers, that's as far as I'll go. I'll go for like a Wildwood, a Wash, and then a Catachan Flesh. Because these guys use a lot of leather for armor panels and stuff like that, and they're artisans, they're quite good at making like high quality leather material. I decided that I was going to push it up even further. So that's where I jumped into the Mornfang brown color and went in for that second highlight on the leather. Once again, being a little bit less than the previous color. Okay, from here on out, we are going to be just working on some of the kind of more detailed parts of the model. We've already hit all of the major areas. The horse coat is done. The brown leather armor is done. The green is kind of ready to rock and roll as well. Obviously, I've done the base. I never really go for what the base is on video. Everyone likes to do their bases their own different way. So I don't bother adding 5 minutes onto every video I do showing exactly how I did the base. But I decided because we have new bases with the 30 by 60 millimeter bases for these new cavalry, there's a lot more space to add extra things. So I did use those cool extra bits you used to get on the sprues, glued it down and painted up. So there's a nice little rock in there with a sprite sitting there and some leaves and ivy and all that kind of bits and pieces just to make it all stand out. As you can see, I'm very much taking my time here and trying to find those little peaks of skin which exist through it. So his knees, elbows, his hands, and part of his face is on display. And trying to kind of feed your brush around those details and make sure you get them really nice. Even the neck under that leather armor is a pain, but we managed to get in there with the first coat, and we're of course going to go in with the second one, Kislev Flesh. These are elves. They're supposed to be really pale skinned, especially ones that live under the canopy of trees. So not a lot of sun exposure. So Kislev Flesh on the final highlight for that. If you are enjoying this video, make sure you do those 3 things which cost you absolutely nothing and make a huge difference to the channel. And that is, of course, like this video. Make sure that you comment if you have any questions or any other videos you want to see in the old world. And make sure you're subscribed. Those 3 things cost you nothing. If you want to help support the channel even further, there is better ways to do it, such as Patreon or becoming a channel member. With those things, you get access to a private Discord server and you get access to an extra video every single week just for you guys. If you're looking to purchase Hobby for yourselves, you're in the UK, we recommend Element Games, linked below. That is our affiliate link. So if you purchase from them, we get a little kickback. And then My Hobby Place is kind of the European distributor. So you want to check out that link below. You purchase any of your hobby stuff from them, you'll save yourself 15-20% off. And also the channel will get a little kickback as well. So they're all great ways to help support the channel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and you're looking forward to more old world videos next week.